Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar. Today we'll be discussing datto SaaS protection. This helps provide protection for users and their business data for Microsoft 365 and G Suite. My name's Andrew Rigg. I'm a solution architect with Perfect Image with a focus on public cloud, but also traditional data center infrastructure and hybrid environments. Perfect Image is a managed service provider in the Northeast. We've been providing IT consultancy services to a wide-ranging client base for over 25 years now. We're a consultant-led business with over 90 IT professionals across 3 business units, including business intelligence, business systems, and IT infrastructure. With the rapid increase of remote working and therefore migrations to Microsoft 365, IT departments may not always be aware of the risks still associated with SaaS services and their own responsibility to protect the data. When you bring into the mix of things now with bring your own devices and personal home computers that aren't always fully managed by IT departments, this adds to the increased risk of malicious activity and data loss. That's why Perfect Image has partnered with Datto to provide a managed SaaS protection solution for our customers. Just before I hand you over to Greg Jones from Datto, who will be presenting today's session, at any stage, please raise any questions in the Q&A section and we'll try to answer these as we go. With that, Greg, it's over to you.
Fantastic, thank you for that. So welcome everybody, good afternoon and welcome to today's session. My name is Greg Jones and I am Business Development Director for Datto in EMEA. That means I get to work with our partners, the likes of Perfect Image, to really bring you some educational content. As we've said at the beginning of this session today, please use the Q&A or the actual chat box today. Although we will be running through quite a lot of content, I want you to feel that this is your webinar and really it's about you and helping you understand the threat landscape. So if you have any questions, please fire them in. There is no such thing as a silly or a ridiculous question. We would like to cover everything today. Perfect Image have brought you this webinar today, really just showing their commitment with their partners, the likes of yourselves, on how to keep secure during this current pandemic and the health crisis that we are seeing in today's world. Unfortunately, we are seeing the threat landscape increase in terms of the amount of threats out there at the moment, and Perfect Image would obviously like to keep you safe and secure throughout that time. I'll just very quickly talk to you about Datto as an organization. This webinar is not about us or the size of our business. This is about giving you some insight to the global reach that Perfect Image have, leveraging Datto's technology and also our offices and locations around the world. So we have 9 secure data centers globally across the world. So we are fully covered around the likes of GDPR compliance and also all of the security elements. They are tier 1 data centers, meaning that all the data that we store in any of our data centers is geolocated, meaning that it is sent to 2 data centers rather than just 1. We've been partnering up for a good while now with Perfect Image, but Datto as an organization is approaching 13 years in the channel and supporting business data globally across the world. So I just wanted to give you an indication of the kind of organization that Perfect Image have gone through a strict process in terms of choosing a continuity partner to make sure that your data is safe and secure in obviously today's vulnerable business world. So today's webinar, we're going to focus in and around business continuity, keeping data safe on the internet, but also the difference between looking at conventional backup back in the day to true business continuity. We're also going to touch on some of the threats that we see out there at the moment in terms of the threat landscape around the internet and also give you an idea of what risks are coming through for businesses. Please remember to post any questions in the Q&A, and either Andy or Kate or somebody will obviously jump in and we can stop and go through any questions. So when people tend to think around backup as a service or backing up of data, it's usually for the things that spring to mind straight away is usually, certainly in the UK, around the likes of fire is one of the top concerns. And also, as you will know, with our glorious UK weather, it's also around floods and natural disasters as well. They're the two common main threats that people think of in the UK when it comes to backing up data. However, it doesn't matter whether you're a small organisation or an extremely large organisation, taking, for instance, the likes of Microsoft or an even bigger player out there. The risk remains the same, that the biggest risk to any organisation is actually from the human elements. People are the greatest risk to your business, not necessarily maliciously, but certainly around accidentally, around education, or just it might be around knowledge and sharing of information. So for any business in the UK, it's not just about the security that you put in place and the great systems that Perfect Image can offer you in today's digital world, but it's all around education as well, making sure that people are educated around data security and data theft. So when we talk about people being the biggest risk to your organization, there are hundreds of examples I could give you. Certainly this one from the Met Office in Hawaii. This was the emergency manager that accidentally sent out a disaster warning, terrifying of everybody on the island about an inbound missile communication. And that was just by accidentally pressing the wrong sequence of buttons in the system to launch this actual this crisis, really. And then when he come on to explain how he'd gone wrong and actually put some meat on the bone, so to speak, you will see the post-it notes on his window, on his Windows screen behind him, that have got the password and username to the system. So it's all about security. That's why we say, you know, it's not just about security software put in place and secure backups. It's about education as well. It's that 360 holistic view to data security in today's world. Again, another example from Sky News, weather warning, and in the background you can see on his dry wipe board we have a username and password for an emergency planning system, and the password you can see there is winter 14. You know, these are just a few examples that we can share with you openly. And again, another one where they go to a live stream, and again it gives you usernames and passwords for systems. So this is just to really highlight in today's security world that it's not just about making sure we have business continuity and backups around natural disasters, floods, fires. It's also about putting in protective measures from the human elements. And as I said before, it's not always from a malicious point of view. Sometimes it literally is accidentally opening up. I'm actually just going to stop here and just see whether any questions have come in, and ask if we have anything, because I just want this to be as interactive as possible. Is there anything, Perfect Image, that's come in, or?
No, nothing yet, Greg.
Okay.
I'll keep an eye on it, and if I have anything come up along the way as well, I'll chime in as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, so we want to touch on today around the Internet of Things and the autonomy of the internet and the digital business world. Unfortunately, going back only 8 weeks ago, with the global health crisis, this has changed the way we do business potentially forever. We've seen far more organizations certainly work from home because they didn't have an option. Many organizations have put mobile working on hold for many years, but this health crisis really pushed us to make sure that we had to work from home, otherwise businesses would literally just close the door there and then. But we want to highlight the risks around the internet, mobile working. It is absolutely great and phenomenal for business. We're seeing at the moment more and more the likes of Skype and Cisco conversations, Teams, than ever has been before. But we still want to highlight that when you look out across the internet and the Internet of Things, really, only about 4% of traffic is what normally we think of for the internet, i.e. websites, the likes of Yahoo, Google, or services like the BBC or legitimate websites. The rest of the internet traffic is around the deep and dark web. Now, hopefully most of you who are on today's call will not be familiar with the dark web, and it's only the likes of myself and Perfect Image who are familiar with the dark web. And the reason why we're familiar is so that we venture into the likes of the dark web to make sure our clients are protected and secure. So we need to know about all vulnerabilities out there. We're not going to touch into it too much today, but we just want you to know that without any security in place, whether that be around security of your business systems, whether that be from viruses, malware, threat protection, or firewalls, you certainly wouldn't be operating today. So we just wanted to highlight to you that this is a market that, as the mobile work from home has developed really and evolved, so has the risks on the internet. The evolution of cyber threats and cyber crime is at an all-time high, and we never expect this number to drop down. Unfortunately, as we move to more of a digital and mobile workforce, this number will just continue to go north. The threat landscape is forever changing, really, and we are seeing many hacks and threats coming into organizations. But still, the highest out there is still phishing attacks. So that is where they try to impersonate either somebody from your organization to actually come in and either hack your organization, leak some data, or just cause havoc around locking some of your data so that you have to pay ransom fees. What we typically tend to see with SMB organizations is they think, oh, well, we won't be targeted because we don't have any of that kind of data, or they won't be targeting us as an organization. We're either too small or not in the category that they're looking for. However, the screen that is in front of us now displays there are many different types of security threats out there, whether it be live hacking from collective groups or people just hacking around the Internet of Things. So we've seen many examples where organizations have been hacked from either online thermometers in their office, it might be a Wi-Fi kettle, believe it or not, or a Clicks drinks machine. There are many different routes to hacking of an organization, or even simply we've seen cleaning companies, organizations putting USB drives in the back of machines, and there are many different things. So we just wanted to highlight some of the risks to you to say no organization is exempt from a cyber attack, really. And it's about making sure that not only are you aware of it, but also around education. It goes hand in hand in terms of Perfect Image can do a fantastic job in terms of making sure you have business continuity and your organization is protected, but it needs to be that 360 approach. We need to make sure that we put something technically in place to back up data and secure your organization. But we also need to make sure that employees are just aware at a very high level that what the security threats are out there, so that we can see 43% of cyber attacks are aimed at the small to medium sized enterprises. This is absolutely huge. 91% of attacks are from phishing attacks. So this is when you get an email maybe into your organization disguising as potentially either a customer, somebody that you partnership up with you, or it could potentially be as if it's come from one of your colleagues. And quite often these phishing attacks are becoming more and more complex, and they look incredibly real. They can hide themselves behind your email address, so it looks like it is a genuine email that is coming into the business. They usually tend to strike at your busiest time, so they would know potentially when payroll is or month end, or depending on what vertical you move in, they will know when your busiest period is, and they'll try and send these emails so that they get caught up in everybody being busy in the organization and either click on one of these or process the request. Another scary factor, 24,000 new malicious apps every single day are removed from the App Store. So this is just going to show that cyber crime and bad actors are taking advantage of the likes of the App Store or many different online stores. You can nowadays buy, as an individual, go in and buy ransomware to be able to deploy your own ransomware. They operate these as fully fledged businesses, so to speak, these hackers nowadays. And every 13 seconds, we do see a live attack on a UK business. Just want to stop there. Is there anything that's coming in or any questions at all? I'm trying to just get this as interactive as possible, you see.
No questions there, but yeah, I just thought I'd add to a point there with the the ransomware basically off the shelf. So it's effectively ransomware as a service, just like today we're promoting the kind of datto SaaS protection as a service. Everything is available in the internet as a service, and it's big business.
Yeah, this is absolutely huge now. The amount of money that is exchanging hands around cybercrime, ransomware, as you say, they operate it as a fully fledged business, and these businesses, I kid you not, are extremely successful. They are moving large sums of money, so you can go on and buy it as a service, but also you can get it in multiple different languages, which we'll touch on a little bit later. But all of these companies that sell you this malicious malware for you to be able to send on to people to infect them to then charge a ransom, they operate as normal businesses. So they have a customer services department because they want to make sure that they are operational 24 hours a day should you wish to pay a ransom in either a foreign currency or in the middle of the night. We are seeing incredible levels of sophistication. So just moving on, saying ransomware is king in 2020. Last year, we've seen a nearly 200% growth rate around ransomware attacks using the likes of Bitcoin and also other cryptocurrencies, because these currencies can be traded on the dark web without ever tracing them back. Usually when an organization has been hit by ransomware, it's come from a country that the attacker is never ever been to. They are just sending it through that country. So it could come from anywhere, the likes of, and I'm just saying company locations now, but the likes of China, Russia, Japan, Hong Kong, Syria. You know, they're just using their services to deploy this malicious ransomware to try and attack your business. Also as well, as I said, they are extremely sophisticated organizations, these hacking organizations. They are also as well testing our integrity, I guess, around how they get more people to be infected. So now what we're starting to see is when an organization or an individual has been infected with ransomware, you have multiple options nowadays. So one is you can pay the ransom there and then and actually be unencrypted so that you get your data back. There is no other way than paying this fee. But now what they're starting to say is, well, this would be a good route to market if the person who has been infected actually recommends two people to become infected. So ultimately, if it's saying to you this, these ransomwares are saying, well, if you want to nominate two people and send this virus on, and two people click on your link because it's coming from a known source, i.e. yourself, if you infect two, well, we will unencrypt you free of charge. And we are actually seeing an uptake on this, not only in individuals, but also businesses selecting their competitors, selecting random organizations and putting their details in. So we call it, you know, it is the popcorn effect, really. You know, it can only be removed by paying or sending it on to other businesses. This is going to be absolutely huge in 2020 and beyond. And again, as I said earlier, you can select the ransomware or the encryption on your device in any language in the world now. And you can also pay in any language in the world, using any currency in the world, using Bitcoin brokerage and services. So today, I know looking at this on a webinar, sometimes it can feel a little bit far-fetched, but we do want to say that, you know, this is happening in the UK. We see it with SMBs of all different sizes, whether that be the small one-man shops, right up to large enterprise organizations are being infected. So we just want to highlight to you. And also, one of the biggest heists of the year around a casino, and I know you actually might be thinking, oh wow, this has gone to a whole new level. It sounds like a movie. You know, it sounds like something we would see on TV around, you know, a huge heist on a casino. It wasn't what we traditionally think around a heist, around storming doors, throwing of CS gases, and maybe running in with ammunition or arms or holding anyone hostage. This is the threat. This was the largest hack of 2018, actually. This is the foyer of a large casino, which I can't give you the name of. They are in Las Vegas, and they have many, many fish tanks. However, the threat and the cyber criminals used the fish tank to come into the organization to steal the high rollers database. And how they gained access to that organization was they wirelessly, with a laptop in the foyer whilst having a coffee, connected to the digital thermostat that was in the fish tank and used that to access the casino's network. They were able to gain access through and in and onto the network, and then gain access to the high rollers database, which was then shared online, and it was shared amongst many hacking organizations. A lot of these organizations have meetups once a year. So one of them actually is in Las Vegas called DEFCON. But these are the kind of measures that people are going to steal databases and whatnot. So this could be somebody walking into your organization with a device that's just connected on onto your Wi-Fi, and you can buy these for around about £100 online. So we want to stop organizations, as do Perfect Image, around thinking about just backing up of pure data, really. So whether that be
great. So there's just a question popped in. I'm kind of asking around. So, you know, what's the solution to this? And it's probably about I think the time in the presentation is where we've kind of set the background and kind of set the scene, and we will now go on to, you know, what the solution or what the datto SaaS protection solution is to kind of help fight against any of these issues that that we've raised.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we will be coming on to that now. And just to give you an indication, Perfect Image have a range of tools and services to be able to offer you to back up all of your data and secure all of your data while in the cloud. So just very quickly,
if there's anything that we don't cover off through this today as well with the attendees, you will be receiving a link after this session here as well. I'm offering you a free consultation. So if there's anything more that you want that you didn't get out of today's session, then that's what we can pick up afterwards.
Yeah, just on this point around continuity and making sure you have everything, this is not continuity. So if you've got a cloud only backup of your data or a local copy, or just very loose, you just have the raw data backed up, what is the services that we offer with Perfect Image. So around ransomware protection, protecting your SaaS data in the cloud, so the likes of Office 365. I'm actually going to zip through this now so that we get to give you an indication. I'm going to come back to the recovery cost calculator. I know a few people on today's call clearly have just got some concerns around data protection as a whole and how we offer something. So a lot of organizations believe that when they move over to the likes of Office 365 or Google G Suite, which are both amazing products within themselves for collaboration and sharing of organizations, they instantly think that their data is safe and secure because it is in the cloud. This is a myth, unfortunately, that is constantly out there. Both Microsoft and G Suite recommend in your user agreement that you sign, or that Perfect Image sign on your behalf, that all of this data should be backed up by a third party, because Microsoft or G Suite do not back up any of your data in the cloud. They recommend it because they know that the cloud and the likes of Office 365 and G Suite is constantly being exploited. So they really recommend that you have a solution out there that backs up everything, whether that be your contacts, whether it be your calendar information, all of your emails within there. And this example here just goes to show you an Office 365 client that's out there now. You get an email that comes in, looks like an original Microsoft email. You click one button and it infects all of your mailbox, every single file, every single folder. Not only that, but it also goes around your whole domain. So it encrypts everybody on your organization. So everybody who uses the same domain name within your business, all of that data will be encrypted. And there is only one way of getting it back, and that is actually if you pay the ransom fee. If you do not have datto SaaS protection, which backs up all of your data on Office 365 and also G Suite. Perfect Image can do you an audit to see what you have in place at the moment, and certainly give you an indication of what is available to offer you as an organization.
Yeah, Greg, so if we just go then to that one just a little deeper there, just with let's talk about 365 first. So what within 365 does datto SaaS protection back up?
Yeah, so there's an awful lot of things in terms of when we look at datto on Office 365. It backs up all of your mail, all of your contacts, all of your calendar information, but also as well, it backs up your OneDrive and SharePoint as well. So all of your online data that you move into the cloud, a lot of organizations now are using the likes of SharePoint and OneDrive for Business. So it will back up all of that information. It's a really low monthly cost for your organization, but just to give you that 100% peace of mind that your organization is being backed up, and we can roll you back and have you operational within minutes.
And the snapshots, is it three or up to 4 times per day? I know it kind of differs, and it depends upon the kind of workloads in, you know, whether it is 365 or G Suite.
Yeah, it is actually 3 times a day. So it will snapshot that depending on your organization. It'll look at timings behind the scenes, but 3 times a day, in essence, everything will be backed up from your organization. So you're only ever losing, you know, maybe an hour's worth of data or a few hours at maximum. You know, absolutely everything is backed up there. And that's the same, I might as well touch on as well for G Suite. It backs up all of your Gmail, calendar, contacts, but also as well, it backs up your G Drive, so your Google Drive and your Teams Drive as well. So it will back up all of the data to make sure that you have a full copy of it. Ransomware in the cloud, which is what this is exploding at a rate of knots at the moment. It's incredibly easy to be infected, and also it's incredibly hard to trace anybody in terms of whoever has encrypted you. It's really, really hard for anybody to be able to trace them back and say where it actually came from.
Yeah, so just onto this one as well, another question's popped in around, does Datto have any preventative security controls, or is it really focused on the recovery part of the equation, so backup and restore?
So yes, we do. We have in our networking section, we have some parts, so we have a firewall in there. This is more what Datto is trying to do is not necessarily just pitch you a product today. It's more around educating and saying Perfect Image can give you a 360 approach to this, and it is a 360 approach. So it is partnership up with Datto, but also as well looking at the likes of your security on your networks, end user training, which is really, really important, and usually one of the biggest pieces that is overlooked within an organization. You can have a huge budget, whether that be anything from, you know, £1,000 up to hundreds of thousands of pounds or millions, spend it on great IT, but miss out the education piece with your end users, and you're basically putting a huge backdoor into your network. So Perfect Image will, you know, have a conversation with you around your organization and what that looked like, because every organization is different. It's about a layered approach. Think of it like an onion, I guess. When you cut through it, there's lots of different layers. So Perfect Image will look at your network, your PCs, your internet connection, your employees, the software that you're using. This is not a scare tactic to say go home today and, you know, disconnect machines and pull out your internet connection. We're saying, look, these are the threats that are out there. They're not going away. We're seeing a rise, a global trend, and we just want to educate you to say we have a solution for everything to make sure that you are protected and you can get operational. We just don't want.
Yeah, that's right. And so from Perfect Image's point of view, this is where, you know, so we are a consultancy-led business, and this is where the consultancy element comes in, and either working with your existing products you have, whether that be possibly changing those products or taking out a more advanced offering from sometimes your current vendor. You know, so it's all the way from endpoint protection through to, you know, the through to mail security. So there's lots of different products, and Datto is one of the tools we use for our customers, which is kind of fit for the job.
Yeah, and part of that analysis as well, I'll just go back a few slides where we were before just to highlight something. I know part of Perfect Images, when they come out and assess all of your needs around data protection and security as well, is to truly analyze your business in terms of giving you a number of what that data is worth. So they will come out and not only look at your systems, but have a look at, you know, what kind of data you've got on the systems, your headcount, a rough kind of on cost for staff, what your average salary is, and we can then give you a number for your data. So we could say, well, every minute that you're down or every hour of lost production, this is what it's costing your business, just so that that gives you more meat on the bones, really, maybe for boardroom discussions, or just for you as a CEO or a director or a manager to know what your data is worth to the business. There's normally, and I don't want to get complicated today, but there's normally 2 points. One is a recovery point. So that is how far you are willing to go back and how much data you are willing to lose. And then also a recovery time objective, which means how long can your business actually be can be out of action. And usually when you look at them two figures, the recovery point, how much data you're willing to lose, and how much time, we can give you an exact amount of a monetary value on your data, just so that you've got an idea of, you know, what the risk is to your business, really. I guess today it's not a scare tactic, but we wanted this to be a real hard-hitting webinar to say, look, this is not us, you know, exasperating something. This is a shift we are seeing in the global market, and we don't want you to be one of the businesses that can't get back from a true outage in the cloud or on your premise device. It's costing, you know, the UK economy huge sums of money daily, never mind yearly, and that trend is just going up. So that's all I wanted to say today, and really all I've got on today's webinar. But I'm free to ask any, you know, you're welcome to ask me any questions, either about your business or just a query in general about the threat landscape or anything else, if anyone's got anything.
So we'll just kind of keep it open there for a little while to see if any other questions come in. But just want to repeat there that you will be sent a link regarding the kind of free consultation. So any questions, or whether you want a product demonstration on a kind of one-to-one basis, just get in touch with Perfect Image. I mean, we're one of Datto's partners. Of course, you can buy Datto's product through various partners. Would love to work with you. We also do have various other webinars coming up, including Office 365 licensing and kind of, you know, what's the right license for your business, Windows Virtual Desktop, remote working, and how this has changed forever, really, since the this latest kind of COVID outbreak. You can find those on our website. Just look for the events page, or I'm sure since you've attended, and if you've opted in for a bit of marketing, we'll be sending you a few emails. But I mean, there's not too much from my side. I don't see any other questions popping in, but we'll keep this open for a while.
Yeah.
They do have a question about Teams. So the question was, it says backups for SharePoint, but does it also back up Teams channels and chats? So Greg, if you just want to discuss that.
Yeah,
on that one.
At the moment it does back up Teams drives. At the moment it doesn't back up individual conversations. It will do later this year. That is in the roadmap, and you will get that as part of your service. So if you take out through Perfect Image datto SaaS protection, you will get that. We are constantly in all of our product lines updating them monthly, and you get all of the latest updates. But at the moment, it doesn't back up individual chats.
As Teams is it's a relatively new product. It's been out now for a couple of years, but it's basically, as Microsoft releases access to their different APIs, is the matter of how deep we can go into protecting that data. There's conversations around, are chats business data? Is it relevant, or is it more down to what's within those Teams channels? Obviously sharing of files, and they're more the kind of structured day-to-day business opportunities. There's another one. There's another couple popped in here as well, so I'll just run these ones out here. Hi, Greg. I've seen a stat recently saying 60% of small and medium businesses go out of business after a ransomware attack. Is that accurate?
So globally, yes, it is. There's a bit of analysis on the back of it, really. I've been in the tech space now for just over 20 years. In the last 6 years, working in small to medium-sized enterprises, unfortunately, I've seen a number of them go to the wall because they didn't have any backup at all, no business continuity or disaster recovery plans. This epidemic really, and where we are with the global health crisis, has really highlighted that most businesses did not have a business continuity plan. That has been one of the main things that we've seen coming back in from partners that we work with globally across the world. Yes, is the answer.
Yeah, I mean that's similar from what Perfect Images are seeing too. There's the businesses typically have like disaster recovery or business continuity for sections of the business, but not kind of the entire business. What happens when we go to our office, but we still have a business to run?
Yeah, and some of that, some of that only needs to be documented plans and policies and procedures, which again, Perfect Image can give you some advice on that when they come in to look at your whole solution offering around business continuity and disaster recovery. But absolutely, if you think your business goes blind overnight and you've lost all data, how hard would that be, even knowing the likes of just looking at it from a financial point of view, creditors, who owes who, what's what. It's extremely difficult. So I can't give you a guaranteed yes, that is the exact number, because I don't think anybody in the world truly knows some of these stat numbers. But yes, it is very, very high is what we see.
So another question here. So this kind of is more going on to the elements, I guess, of Microsoft responsibilities, your responsibilities. But the question here is more around, so Microsoft SharePoint uses a recycle bin, which is read-only. Will the ransomware, so that ransomware example you showed there, infect the recycle bins?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing that they do with any ransomware is the systems basically look for backups. So even with a standard backup, even if we were talking about a normal PC now, not even SaaS protection, when the machine is infected, the first thing that they want to do is cause as much disruption as possible. So they get rid of the file names in the recycle bin, they empty it so that you cannot restore, then everything is encrypted. So yeah, these hackers are extremely gifted individuals. In another life, they will be paid a vast amount of money by some companies to protect them, as some of them do turn over to the white side of hacking. So yeah, that's the first thing that's done.
Yeah, that's right. And so, I mean, it really depends upon the sophistication of the attacks as well, because there are, so you've got the Microsoft. So Microsoft does have some responsibilities kind of SLAs around what they can restore and for what time periods as well. So you've got that side there, but then you've also got the element for, if you do need to do a recovery from the Microsoft side, it tends to be like an entire SharePoint site, not and you can't get as granular as implementing the likes of these solutions.
There's a number of, and I alluded to it slightly before on the call, but websites where you can go just to buy hacking tools nowadays for less than £100, and they can hack networks, hack accounts, and these websites, you go to these websites as if it's just Amazon. It's not even on the dark web. For £100 you can buy hacking tools, and then once you have that tool, you can go to the equivalent of like an app store and download whatever malicious software you would like to run on that network. So I've done examples of that in the past with people and shown them, going in and just showing how vulnerable we all are unless we take a 360 approach to it.
So another one there. So basically, as part of this kind of webinar here, do we advise on how to increase the Microsoft secure score for Office 365, or would that be more relevant to a different kind of presentation?
Yeah, that would be a different presentation. I would say, I don't know, Andy, is this picked up with you if they do an audit?
Yeah. So I mean, from the perfect image sides of things, so that's where on the secure score side, we'll want to know a bit more detail there. So you've said for the 365 side there, but there are definitely, so one of our webinars coming up, we'll cover more around this one here, but you've got the different tiers of your security score, and then whether you're on the free tier, whether you're on the standard paid for tier as well. But I guess in essence, in short, the short answer to this question is no, it's not included in this session, but we can help you with that one.
Yeah, I just say, you know, just always have your systems checked, you know, a regular cadence and check from perfect image for them to just loop back around, make sure, you know, nothing's gone under the radar. I know we've seen out there with a number of service providers rushing to get people operational in a mobile workforces. Just make sure that you go back around and double check, triple check security, bit of education. You may or may not have moved to new online tools quite rapidly, and your staff have not got up to speed as quickly. I know it takes me a few hours getting up to speed with a new piece of software nowadays, but you know, just make sure that you're doing everything in terms of engaging with perfect image. You know, get them to come out and do a bit of a health check and have a chat around data security in the digital, you know, work from home world that we're in now. But then also touch on the education. I can't specify enough. This is not about me plugging software today. This is about me saying, look, make sure it's a 360 approach. You cover everything, not only software and hardware, but the people, the human. What usually for any organization, what sits between the space bar on the keyboard and the back of the computer chair is the biggest risk to any organization, i.e. the human or the member of staff. Because ultimately, if you think they are behind enemy lines, they are already in your network, and I'm not saying it's malicious, but they might accidentally click a link from one of them joke emails, or they may have been targeted. You know, we see things now out there in the marketplace where people have been, you know, followed for months to gain access to one particular network. You know, friendships have been formed solely to, you know, penetrate networks.
Yeah, I guess that's where you differ there between your kind of your phishing and your spear phishing as well. You know, so you're more targeted one-to-one element of things. You know, it's not just, as soon as your email is potentially compromised, you're not immediately attacked. You know, they'll sit there for weeks or months analyzing what's going on through the business and trying to, you know, try to move through the business before they actually launch their attack.
Yeah, usually it's around about 180 days. People stay dormant in your network, just analyzing, looking at things, sniffing around. And if they want to go in, you know, even education with your staff around, and it might seem old hat, but believe me, it still happens. Plug in the likes of USB drives in at conventions, or, you know, let's say you are in a vertical in, I don't know, business banking or manufacturing. Believe me when I say, if they want to get into manufacturing, they will study the papers, study all the blogs online, find out where the events are, and they will head to them events and drop malicious USB pen drives in and give them out at freeware at events. They're extremely sophisticated attacks, and they know what they're doing. You know, just be cautious.
Yeah, just to add on to that, there was another question. I think I'm almost missed this one here. Are there signs that there's threat actors that are using AI technology to customize their attacks?
Yeah, absolutely. We're seeing that. So some of the things we can't actually go into for legal reasons, but yeah, absolutely. We're seeing now a lot of it is AI around just simply constantly trying new algorithms and systems to gain access. and then it's only handed over once a vulnerability is found. Now, that is not only from individuals and individual hacking groups, but we're seeing it from, and it's been reported on the news, so we can say, you know, government states around the world as well. You know, arguably put out there, the next war is a digital war. It's online as opposed to, you know, real world fighting, so to speak. But this is just to say, look, it's not going away. It's something that you need to be vigilant upon and work with your technology partner, Perfect Image, to say, look, we need to constantly address this. This is not something that gets priority for a month and then we've fixed it. Even if you implement datto solutions, you need to revisit it, you know, every 3 to 6 months to say, are we ahead of the curve? You know, what new threats are out there? Is our business protected? You know, that's what you need to do.
Okay, yep. I don't think there's been any more questions come in there.
And I'm happy if there's any questions you think of later, you know, you by all means fire them over to Perfect Image. I'm sure they'll be able to answer them. Or if there's any datto questions, send them over to Perfect Image and they'll get them across to myself. And, you know, happy to answer them for you. And if we can, you know, help in any way.